All right, here we go. What's going on in the Vulcanverse, everybody? Moonshot here, coming to you from my basement studio. I've had this presentation written out for a few days. I just have not had a chance to get down here and get this video made. I think this will be a good format to kind of just share my thoughts before we release staking. That way, I'll kind of give you my interpretation of the way things are going to move forward. And then, I'd like this to be a collaboration. So if anybody has any questions, comment on the vid or shoot me a DM or the Tyche Discord channel will be fine. But yeah, it's just been tough. It's been a busy time, obviously, this time of year. Is always a little bit busy. My daughters and my wife are a little bit uncooperative on my alternate life as founder of a crypto token. So bear with me, but we have made it. And so let's just jump into it. I will run through this as fast as possible. Then after that, I will show you guys the portal. I might have a few comments after that, and then that'll be it. And then we will move forward. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. All right, let me put my old man glasses on so I can read through this. So 7-year blessing, Tyche staking portal unlocked. What is Tyche's 7-year blessing? Tyche, the goddess of good fortune, is happy to present a most fortunate offer to her loyal holders. The offer is simple yet unlike any that has been presented to the mortals of the crypto realm previously. For the price of loyalty, her community of Tyche holders will be gifted at least 1/2 of her precious supply of Tyche tokens over at least a 7-year staking period known as the 7-year blessing. There are many secrets left unknown, and one that will be greater even than the 7-year blessing, but that secret can only be unlocked in time, as it is only meant to be revealed to those that have proved they are locked in for the long haul. So it will be a banger, but we will leave it there. I'm very excited for when that day comes to tell you guys what I have up my sleeve with that one, and think bigger, as I will get to in a second. It will be a bullish catalyst unlike anything ever dreamed by anyone other than the goddess of good fortune herself. I see your mind pondering now. Think bigger. 7-year blessing by the numbers. The total supply of Tyche's 1 billion, or 1-for-1 with its native Elysium token, Ellie. The 7-year blessing has been allocated with 50% of the supply, or 500 million Tyche tokens, that will be given out over 7 years. The full token allocations are as follows. 7-year blessing, 500 million. Public supply, notice the asterisk, 300 million. Community development, 70 million. Meme rewards generator, 50 million. Prizes for gaming, 40 million. Administrative, 40 million. Bullish announcement coming on this allocation, and I will go ahead and just make that announcement now. Again, I have been trying really hard to convince everybody in the community that this is not my token, it's a community token. I would have no interest in trying to run some type of for-profit project that was like, buy my token, help me get rich, that kind of stuff. That has never been my intention. I've only wanted to have a community token so that if it succeeds, we all share in the success. So the announcement is simply that 40 million is going to be removed, and there will be a big announcement for that once I kind of work out the way it's all going to be arranged. There's a couple different options, but let's just put it this way. It's all going to come back to, let's just say the stakers in some way. But I'm going to get kind of creative about it. So it's going to be a little bit of a carrot I'm going to dangle there. Again, we like with Tyche to add these kind of loyalty challenges, so that's something there. But let's just forevermore remove that kind of idea of administrative. I mean, I always felt like 40 million out of a 1 billion, was kind of worth it, and like I had said that, at some point, if I wanted to, I could bring people in to help me with this, and that would have an allocation to use for that. But, the way this would be more fun for me, and I think the way this works the best, is if I'm just in it with you guys. So that if I want to benefit from Tyche, I have to do the same thing as you. I have to go and get them on the market, and I have to stake them. I have to find ways to get Tyche. This to me is just, I guess it just kind of eases my soul when it comes to that. I'm again, you know, running the administrative aspects, sending out tokens and all that stuff for the 7 years, making sure staking is working correctly and stuff. I don't feel like that was out of bounds, but also, again, it just felt a little icky, and I'm so passionate about making it a community project that I just would prefer to remove that. There is one other idea I have around that, but again, all of this, again, everything I do with this token is all trying to figure out, bullish mechanics and things like that we can, take a virtually unknown token on a, virtually unknown blockchain and get it to blow up. So, but that's the announcement for that part. That is going to be removed, and it will benefit the greater community in some way. So there's that quick announcement. And then you'll see the asterisk there for the public supply. Subject to be reduced. If reduced, it will be added to the 7-year blessing. Stay tuned for more info. So I will explain that a little bit later. But again, I'm trying to create FOMO. That's my job as the founder of this token, and one that is trying hard to get you guys on board with my vision and what it is that we're trying to do here. So we'll leave it at that for now, and let's move forward. Okay, 7-year blessing by the numbers, bullish catalyst. Those numbers alone should be a bullish catalyst for Tyche, but let's look deeper into other bullish catalysts besides 50% of the supply reserved for staking. Tyche is a community-owned project, and now that I made that announcement, 100% community-owned. It's rare enough to have a community token with staking rewards, but Tyche is also giving away 50% of the supply. So yeah, there's lots of great protocols that have staking, and it's very popular and stuff, but and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but to find a kind of a community meme project that's giving away 50% of the supply, I haven't seen that done before in this manner, but I could be wrong. Maybe. But anyways, Tyche has traded for several months, and even without staking going live previously, we have been able to create enough demand to maintain a stable value over 0.001 and have been high as 0.0035. That stable trading range over many months sets Tyche up perfectly for a run at all-time highs with staking live. And again, I've mentioned this before, I pay absolutely no attention to the price of Tyche, and I absolutely understand, one of the most active parts of Tyche up until now, through promotion, is a lot of these rewards. I mean, we've had, 10, 15, even more events, crossover events with Vulcanverse, Berserk, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of the people that are putting the effort in to win those are going to be Sedalian types, and guess what? I give them 10,000 Tyche, they're going to run and sell it. So, I think staking and trying to build your allocation is going to be, kind of the buffer that starts to capture that. But, point being that, I could care less about the daily price of Tyche. I'm unaffected by it because I know if this vision works, it's just going to be a much bigger number, a much bigger market cap. So in the near term, I could care less. And I'm happy for anybody that wins some Tyche tokens. And I'm glad that we have the liquidity and the value for them to, change their day or whatever it is. And I've even made comments on the Discord that, hey, this might be a good idea. We just gave some Tyche away. Might be a good opportunity to go catch some cheap. So even wherever the price is now, that's just because we've had so many of these giveaway events without these kind of bullish catalysts. And it's not that it's been planned by me, but I knew this was going to happen. And again, I have always been it's kind of like we've been in a genesis period, and I know now staking is when things, the vision really starts to take hold. So that's just a quick aside about that. All of this has made Tyche one of the most stable tokens on Elysium. This will likely be reinforced with a 7-year staking program. Yes, we're many months into it. We've had a pretty good trading range. I mean, in my opinion, Tyche has held up very well, considering we haven't even had staking. A lot of people don't, there's many people in the Vulcan Forge community that don't pay almost any attention to the meme tokens and stuff, and that's totally fine. So we have to convince them that there is something here that is of interest to them. And again, how are we doing that? By explaining and continually showing them that this is a true and pure community token, that, if we all, put our minds together and our wallets together to set this token, on a course for success, then we all benefit. But again, okay, Tyche's bullish catalyst continues. With an established value through price and time, Tyche has earned its market cap value of 1 million plus, fully developed value, obviously, and has traded in that range for several months. The market cap is established with an extremely low circulating supply of 5 million Tyche tokens. Most of the circulating supply has been achieved through liquidity on Elysium swap. Over 6K USD and LE has been used to add the liquidity. Again, all of this is from me selling things, sold some lands, my own funds, just to make sure we had the liquidity that to put Tyche on the map. If the LE price had remained stable, it didn't. The liquidity would be even higher at this time and was close to over 16K USD before the precipitous drop in LE price. So again, we all benefit obviously from a rise in LE. I do think it will come, but a lot of the lower liquidity in Tyche has been reduced by LE, not by Tyche, because all of the LE that was put in and then added to has remained. No LE has ever been removed from my liquidity adds, never. And I have no plans on ever doing that, and I explain that time and time again. If LE stabilizes and or rises, that USD liquidity will return. If not, more can be added. This highlights another bullish catalyst and a constant that will continue with Tyche, which is 0 Tyche have ever been sold by the founding wallet. This is easily trackable via Elysium Scout. In other words, there's no concern or will be any concern around the Genesis wallet or associated wallets like my wallet, personal, like whatever, wallets that are associated. Like, of course, like my wife is going to be interested in a token that I'm founding. I have friends that are in crypto. They like point being, like, none of them are ever going to be trying to capitalize on Tyche. I will. I'm like, and again, don't hear my words. Run on Elysium Scout. Track everything. You will be absolutely convinced, and I hopefully now this is one of the good things about you guys knowing me for many years, or at least some of you knowing that, like, this is just something I have no interest in doing, is trying to promote Tyche, sell some on the side. All that's going to do is destroy the project, and I have zero interest in doing that. Again, as previously stated, if that activity was evident, I would encourage everyone to sell, as I would if I saw a Genesis wallet of a new token selling while asking the community to buy. That would go against the core principle of a community token. The magical math behind Tyche's tokenomics. Notice up until now there has been no mention of Tyche deserving a certain token price based on the meme of the gods. While that is true, and we will visit that in time, it's simply not necessary because the math checks out. Before getting into the math behind Tyche, let's remind that this is above all a community-owned project. So if anyone in the community has any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the math, please bring it to discussion. I am simply running point on this project, but with as many intelligent minds that we have in the community, let's have a fruitful debate until we reach a cohesive opinion about what will happen moving forward. Yes, it's a meme and on a relatively unknown blockchain, but there are millions or hundreds of millions of dollars in potential market cap if we get this right. The magical math behind Tyche'S tokenomics continues. Facts for discussion purposes. 5 million circulating supply, current valuation of 0.001, total supply of 1 billion equals a current market cap of 1 million. Again, FDV, fully developed value. Let's try to discuss a possible negative first and go from there. So if we wanted to try to break it apart, okay, there's only 5 million circulating, yet you state 295 million will still be sold if the public supply is 300 million. And my answer is sure. The tokenomics state 300 million, but let's discuss how we can get that liquidity released with an already established price. One way would be for myself to add another 30K in US in liquidity and hope that, directly onto a lithium swap, and hope that LE does not drop further. It's unlikely, and I think I have already added plenty of my own USD, so that option is off the table, at least for now. Maybe a few K USD more is possible, but that is not necessary at this time, in my humble opinion. Realistic option, Vulcan X liquidity. The Vulcan Forge team has mentioned interest in adding Tyche, and I think they would be wise to do so. Let's discuss. Okay. So, again, I mean, Jamie himself on the main thread has asked me to contact him. I contacted Ness through DM, so I have an open conversation going. I think they just got really busy. I've already mentioned to him that that's one of my goals. It just makes perfect sense that Tyche would be on Vulcan X. I think it makes sense for them. I have no doubts that they're going to circle back at some point and we're going to get this done. But again, I'm even moving into a position where, I think it's so important for the success that, I'm going to try to, come up with an offer they can't refuse, giving, putting a stake towards the Vulcan Forged project itself, giving them, an ability to succeed in the success of the token without actually having to commit too much. But then again, I'm always in a protective mode, right? I'm always protecting the price of Tyche. I'm not just going to hand over, 100 million tokens, and then, to me that would be disrespectful to everybody that's, earned the tokens that they have. I'm not going to water down the token price. My job as founder here, everything about what I do is to build the price. So I have ideas about that, but again, we'll get into that in future videos, but it is something that I think about a lot, and I do have an open dialogue going on. So I do think that's going to happen, and I will keep you guys updated when and if it does happen. So Vulcan X. Tyche is a true OG community token. I myself have been pretty much exclusively involved in Vulcan Forge for several years. I love the project. I love the community. I'm no stranger to those involved in Vulcan Forge. In fact, it's true that Tyche was born of Jamie's request to bring me memes. This actually happened on the Vulcanverse Discord. And this was like kind of discussion about the success of Solana and some of these other projects that had memes that were going to balloon in elevated values. And what do they need? They need activity. They need transactions on Elysium. So this is where the idea of bring me memes. But again, it's also true that many of the concepts behind Tyche's tokenomics were planned long before that. I've mentioned this a couple times. I had an idea to launch a token a few years back on Ethereum with this very creative kind of staking strategy and stuff. So a lot of it was already in place. I had already been developing the idea of a meme token on Vulcan Forge. So this is why we ended up being first, because when he said that, I think it might have even been the next day that I minted the tokens and sent the information over to Ness, and I already had a lot of PDFs and stuff written out. So it was like a quick, yep, we're in on that. And anyways, but we're planning on that. Because of that, I was ready when he made his request, and we were first to launch. We have the Greco-Roman theme backed by the perfect goddess, the goddess of good fortune, and so the meme of the gods is a perfect fit for Vulcan X. For this reason, I think it's likely some or all of the remaining public supply will eventually be available on VX. If and when that happens, that bullish catalyst will likely solidify the current range further and or launch us to new heights, but it's not necessary for Tyche's success. Here's why. If for some reason Vulcan Forge decides to sleep on Tyche and not put a meme into Vulcan X that has done everything requested and also sponsored countless Vulcan Forge and Berserk crossover events, then we will simply take the bulk of the public supply and add it into the 7-year blessing staking portal. Right? Boom. Either of these are bullish catalysts, and it's arguable that the latter is even more bullish. I will continue to pursue a VX listing, but I will also continue Tyche's development as if that may not happen. The ball is in their court, and I have made several requests, and I think Jamie and team are just busy now, but I would expect them to circle back in time. It's also important to note that one more potential bullish catalyst regarding this, and I've already stated to Ness that if Vulcan Forge buys some Tyche for VX, then 100% of the purchase value, 100%, not 90%, not 99%, 100% of that purchase value, so any of the funds that come in to Tyche for that will be added to VX and Elysium slot liquidity, 100%. So all those funds just immediately go into liquidity. This continued reinvestment and zero founding wallet sales are core principles of a community project. I would have no interest in running a for-profit crypto project. Since inception, I have instilled the core value of rise together, and that will never change. Again, if anyone ever suspects that I sell one Tyche token for personal gain, then don't wait, just dump. I have no aspirations or need for personal gains from Tyche, but if we as a community can develop Tyche into a 10+ figure meme and change our fortunes and fates together, then that will be worth everything to me. My greatest challenge is getting the community to see the vision and understand the advantages we, as a community that know each other with years of history together, have in a community-powered crypto. And this is something I've pointed to before. So, for example, all these memes that pop up on Solana or Ethereum or wherever, hey, here's this amazing idea. For the most part, these are strangers, right? It's likely 1 to 10 people that are trying to use an idea and have a quick gain and then profit off of it, right? There's no history there. So understand the difference between that. Like you guys have known me for years. I have like, again, probably anybody that's watching this right now, we all have Vulcan Forge in our best interest, and we have hundreds upon hundreds of Discord posts and DMs together and gaming together and stuff to prove that. Like, I don't have to explain who I am. You guys know who I am, and that goes for the other people that are involved in this project. Like, we just all know each other, and for that reason, I think it gives us added power and validity behind the project. Okay. So let's break down the math behind 2 available options. First, Tyche gets listed on VX. Let's imagine for a moment the full public supply, around 295 million, gets purchased by Vulcan Forge and launches with that amount on VX. If that happens, a couple things are possible, in my humble opinion, likely. The launch on VX is a bullish catalyst and solidifies Tyche, right? It's a big deal. If Tyche's on VX, this is going to be, one of its signature tokens, and everybody in Vulcan Forge is going to have a sex that they can, utilize and get Tyche, blah, blah, blah. So as the number one meme that is by its creation community owned, this can launch the price to new all-time highs itself, just that announcement. Or at minimum, stabilize the price over 0.001. So now we have 30% of the total Tyche supply on a CEX by a project that allowed for the creation of Tyche. Smart stakers are then likely to buy on VX and then stake on MetaMask for a larger share of the 7-year blessing payouts. 2, as stated before, 100% of the value from the sales are added to the VX liquidity, and now Tyche becomes a Vulcan Forge community meme with vast liquidity. With that liquidity it's possible Tyche becomes a preferred token for both trading and also for moving funds between the two Vulcan Forge exchanges. So imagine Tyche becoming one of the most liquid tokens, on Vulcan X, and then also on Elysium Swap. So that's, in my opinion, going to be one of the preferred tokens to move back and forth. It's not necessary for the success, but it's something that I wouldn't be surprised happens. Okay, so now let's imagine Vulcan forces no thanks to Tyche and she remains exclusive to LE Swap. A couple bullish catalysts reveal themselves in that scenario. Number one, we first announce 100 million Tyche is removed from the public supply and will be added to the 7-year blessing. This still reserves 200 million for a possible allocation to VX later. This alone is bullish. In that the rewards have now increased and staking has become even more lucrative. And number two, this is one I'm super excited about. The staking community realizes that the current circulating supply may in fact be the entire circulating supply, and those looking to increase their staking allocation are forced to bid for the only available Tyche tokens, those left on LE Swap. Demand in this instance can greatly outweigh the supply, and a parabolic rise is possible. I know that I will be fighting for them myself. Again, now that I'm divesting any portion of the tokens that I can say were my administrative, right and duty, we're done with that. So now I can just go buy them myself as well. And hey, guess what? I'm going to be bullish on a token that I founded, and I have pages upon pages of ideas about and understanding about, right? Other OGs, there's been many. The wallets are growing, and I know who a lot of them are, who have been quietly staking will also be competing for them. So now consider this is a 7-year staking program. So all of a sudden there's this realization like, holy cow, this guy's crazy. Moonshot literally might just take all of the public supply if I don't get, if I'm not happy with the traction that we're getting. Of course, yeah, I mean, we're always going to make sure that we have enough for liquidity, and if I have to take, add more liquidity to make sure it all works out, right? Or by the way, anybody else is welcome to add liquidity. If it's a growing token in popularity, feel free to throw in your own liquidity pool as well. But again, this is a 7-year staking program, so if you got 5,000 or 5 million available, and now you want to build as many as you can, because listen, the MetaMask portal isn't going to ask you like, hey, or limit your amount. So it's going to be a race to see who can gather the most amount. And where are you going to get them from? Well, you're going to get them from Elysium Swap. And when that demand starts to outpace the supply, then this could get interesting. I mean, I make no predictions, but again, it's not hard to kind of see what's probably going to happen. Tyche's other components are virtually untapped. Now that we have analyzed the public supply, let's consider how the other components of Tyche will connect the dots and expand our reach. 70 million community development. This is untapped. Considering I have created the staking portal in-house, developed fully by myself, and I did not tap that. Like I guess I could have, probably should have actually, now that I think about it, taken some of that and said, hey, look what I did. I created the staking portal, and some of these are coming to me. But again, I'm very careful about that stuff. Like, it's very important to me to protect the community thing. So even though, again, like, I worked my ass off on creating the staking portal, and I have a right to some of that, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep it for bigger and bigger things. Okay. And we have community members in place for promotion. How should we utilize these funds? Simple. We will add element after element to make Tyche a more interesting and fun project by implementing some current and future ideas that have come to light. Again, and when I say these, like, the staking itself is running for 7 years. There's something big coming. I've already told you there's a secret coming. This is a vision that is way beyond what you already understand. But again, I have to tap myself. I'm just in time, right? Tyche is an AI agent. This will be coming very soon, and once staking is running smoothly, this will be my number one priority. This was a community board suggestion from a community member that we all know. and I have seen the potential behind this. I will move to the background eventually, and the goddess herself will run this project. You've seen these Tyche AI agents, and boy, do we got a good one. So imagine in the future, Tyche herself in her many forms and facets, explaining, promoting, and building hype around this project, and that is going to be awesome. And again, would you rather look at her or look at me, right? So we'll get that done in some point. NFTs. Okay, this is a secretive and currently worked on part of Tyche. I had one request when setting this in motion, which I already have. We will only have Tyche NFTs that are 100% unique and groundbreaking in the mechanics, and that is going to happen. We will release details in time, but let's just say this will be one NFT you own that will almost certainly grow in value. As somebody who has a lot of moon cats and things like that over the years of like the NFT boom, let's just say that I simply refuse to allow Tyche to have JPEG type NFTs that are going to be worthless. That will not happen, and there's a banger of an idea coming that is super exciting, again, in time. And now you're starting to understand how my brain works. My brain is always working on, like, kind of in a way, Tyche is my ability to fight back on so many things that have upset me and frustrated me in crypto projects I've been in the past, that it's like, this is my opportunity and chance to fix all of those wrongs from the past. Like, my desire to do that is to your guys' benefit. But again, you understand, we've all been there. I'm sure almost everybody watching this has several NFTs they wish they never would have owned. But again, stay tuned. We will let you know what's going on, and it's going to be awesome. Tyche sponsored games, several ideas around this, but again, we're not going to release anything that will not be highly addictive and fit the lore perfectly. I've got a game that is just set aside. The notes on it are really, really cool. It fits the lore, but again, I have to just hold back because like we're nowhere near anything with that. And like again, once staking is done and everything's running perfectly, then we can look at those type of things. But this is a project. This is way bigger than a meme. I like sometimes have to stop myself from coming up with ideas because I actually have a very busy life and a regular job and stuff. But it is hard. Tyche has become a true creative outlet for me, and I really do enjoy it. Tyche's other components continued: meme rewards generator, self-explanatory, but once staking is flowing, we will tap into this community fund for promotion. There's so many possibilities and ideas that have been discussed, but at its core, it will be a way for Tyche to reward those that are spreading her message of good fortune, like simply that. So I put aside funds that are going to literally pay people to promote Tyche. We're going to do it in cool ways, and I'm going to, again, my goal is that it's in-house, so that like, first come, first serve type of things. When we have these things, it'll be probably the people watching this video or future stakers that are going to have first dibs at those. Again, giving people opportunity to increase their stack and their staking allocation. Game rewards. This is currently the most active component of Tyche, and the supply has been used to spread Tyche to those in the Vulcan Forge and her community who are participating in her gaming events. This will continue and grow, and 99% of these tokens are still up for grabs. Think about that. You guys have seen so many of these events going on, and of course that was part of my plan all along, to get Tyche to be somewhat of a household name around Vulcan Forge. We've achieved that. We've given away so many tokens, but yet still have been able to maintain value. This was a goal. I literally wrote that on a paper: spread them out, but keep the value, right? We have done that, and again, imagine these future gaming events with an increased token price, right? Like, again, I'm not telling anybody right now that we are where we want to be, but I'm asking you to, again, I could have just read this. Imagine for a second an upcoming Tyche event where 1 million tokens are given away at a much higher valuation, and that will be coming. We will be doing stuff like that. Okay, finally, the Portal of Good Fortune is launched. Congrats to anyone who's stuck with this presentation. Now, for the reason we are all here, the 7-year blessing will be launching after this is posted. And a caveat to that, you'll see what this is, but I Portal's there and all that stuff. But I'm going to fund the wallet, and I will explain a couple things about that. So it's not going to be like immediately you watch this video and it's there, but it's going to be pretty damn close. Like we're, hours to days from it being funded, and here's the link and go. So let's get into the mechanics of the most advanced and lucrative staking program ever created, one so good it could only come from the goddess of good fortune herself. Oh, I just lost my screen. Come back, please. Whew, that was a close one. Having a hard time believing that? Let's dive in and show you what's about to happen. Facts. 500 million Tyche will be given out over 7 years. Your staking multiplier will grow monthly if and only if you hodl. Your staking multiplier will grow until it reaches the final tier, which is the golden blessing, a 20% multiplier that will remain in place until the 7-year blessing completes. That is if you hodl, or as we call it at Tyche, Godl, God's hands multiplier. That's right, Tyche is a generous and kind goddess, but she is also clever and has created her 7-year blessings in a manner that will reward her most loyal community members with the keys to her Tyche token fortune. So how do you play this? Do you hold and increase your multiplier, but then sell when your fortune grows? Or do you play the long game, right? So do you hold and increase, but then you sell because you just like where you're at? Or do you play the long game and only seek to accumulate as others lose their God hands grip and increase your staking stack? Magical math is at play, but your loyalty will be tested as it plays out. There will be several bullish catalysts that can test your patience and desire for quick gains. But you'll never outsmart the goddess, and she will be waiting and watching for the right moment to reveal all. And when that day comes, the sideline will be a painful place to be. You ready to play Tyche's game? It starts now. And again, it's actually true. Looking into Tyche's lore and who she is, she was the goddess of good fortune, but she really did love games, and she was clever and played tricks and stuff. So this is all not from my brain. This is all from looking into her lore. And again, did you guys think that we were going to release a staking portal that you would just be able to, stack and sell? I mean, you still can, they're not locked. Go ahead and unlock them, but you have to then look away, and that's the fun part, right? And again, I think, when is it time to sell in crypto? And it's the hardest thing to do, right? Timing is when you have amount of money or a gain that can change or benefit your life in some way. But if you can stick it out for the long game, again, there's surprises to be revealed, then the amount of Tyche that you will be sitting on, and what my opinion will be a successful project, can be life-changing. Obviously, I make no claims to that. It could all go bust. I could release this and that, the staking portal, and nobody can care, or just what I mean. I don't think that's possible. I'm not going to quit. I'm going to continue doing these videos. We're going to get deep into it, So again, staking is kind of like part one for me to really unveil what's going to happen. So, all right, here we go. So here is the welcome to Tyche's 7-year blessing. So this is the portal of good fortune. Okay, it is its own server. This is even off of the regular site. You will be able to connect through this. Here's your Connect MetaMask, right? You got your staking overview here, total staked, right? All users, is going to show you exactly how many are staked. Currently, there's 0 now. Your staked amount, claimable awards, right? I did set it aside so you can claim some rewards. Total withdrawable, that'll be your full balance, or total withdrawable. Okay, yep. Then wallet balance, 0 Tyche. Start time, that'll show when you started. Current year, we're in year 1 of 7, right? This is the reward pool. And again, this is breaking down in the math, so I had to protect that. So obviously into the coding, I wrote it so that it would be 71.43 million Tyche per year for 7 years. That comes up to your 500 million total. So it's going to be a yearly allocation that you will be pulling from. But we have to set it up in a way that you know, you know, we control the numbers in the multipliers so that we can't lose it. So it's set up that it will in fact run for the full 7 years, and I get so excited thinking about the possibilities of a much higher token price in Tyche in coming into those later years. How lucrative that staking can get, if we're able to add that value, which is like everything that I just said is all to build value, plus all the other things we haven't been released yet. So here's your multiplier schedule. Days 0 to 30, 0%. So you got a lock for 30 days, and then you're going to get to 1.67%. Not all that fantastic, right? Well, day 30 to 60, you're 3.33%. I mean, now you're locked up for 2 months, and you're only getting 3.33%. It's okay, but again, that's what it takes. Day 60 to 90, now we're getting somewhere 5%. So now you're getting your 5% multiplier in effect over your staked supply. But again, you've held for 3 months to get here, and this continues to go 90 to 126.6. So you'll be able to see these when you're in the portal. 80 to 120, right? And then boom, you get here. 12 months of staking, you're now at the God Hands multiplier of 20%. And this remains in place until you sell. But if you sell, you reset to right here and you start over. So again, for some people, that might be the right decision, that they've gotten to here and they are just like, man, I'm cashing that out and I'll start over. But others are going to be like, please do, I will buy those and add them here. Also, this is important, okay? You are going to have, this is important, and again, I've thought of all of this. Each stake will be separate, right? Because obviously that would be a way to game the system. And this will be listed here, right? You can withdraw your stake, you can withdraw one stake, you can withdraw all your stakes. So I've thought about everything here. You want to claim all your rewards, you want to claim partial rewards. I mean, I have literally thought of everything. And again, I'm not saying it's perfect. I've tested this thing for a long time. I am a little bit terrified. The testing worked perfectly. I used a test token to do it and all that stuff. But again, remember what I said. I have other Tyche to, like, we're going to make sure, let me say it this way. Everybody who's staking up front, that starts, you're going to be earning Tyche, but let's just say you guys are the test group, right? We're just going to communicate. I think any issues that we have with staking are all going to be here in the UI that I can change and fix as we go. I don't foresee any issues because I have worked through some, and I'm at a point now where I'm very comfortable with the coding. But none of that's going to be affected in the back end staking. We're good there. So the one thing that I will be careful about, where you see the 71.43 million supply for year one, I will probably put in like 5 million into the staking wallet, just in case something unforeseen happens and, it starts throwing out millions of Tyche, so that I can catch it without anything big. But once we're like a few months in and everything's working, I will just keep funding it so we get to that allocation. But that is important to note. Every time you put a Tyche stake in, that will start its own separate multiplier. You can have, I think the UI like even reads up to like 7 or 10. I set it at. So that's pretty cool in that you're going to be able to claim some stakes if you want. Like say you have one early stake and you have another one that's catching close to the the 20% multiplier, you might want to pull that one. But I have thought of everything, but I do think even with all those possibilities to claim rewards and everything, that it is still going to be hard to stake, because if you can get here to 20% on a 7-year staking program, I mean, you are set up to become like an insane whale in this project. And then this is like also, I think, the most important point. I can't wait for that to happen, because I'm looking for more of you in the community that are going to financially benefit from the success of Tyche to help promote it. Like, at some point I'd like to just, share that responsibility, or see people without being prompted by me posting stuff on X or Discord about, you're missing out on Tyche because you guys want the price to go up. And I think this staking portal, the portal of good fortune, I called it, is the first step in getting all of us to be a true community in an insane community staking project. And once some of you start to see the vision, and then also start to see the value increase and your own wallet worth increase, I won't have to ask you to promote Tyche. You're just going to do it. Like the Solana bros and stuff that are just like the latest, meme of the day. They pump it for a couple weeks, and then they're on to the next one. But what if instead we just as a community continue to just slowly but surely push Tyche, out into the cryptoverse, slowly but surely. Part of my vision is, what if Tyche somehow becomes the bridge where we make it so interesting with the staking protocol that we're getting people that wouldn't have any concern or care to play Vulcanverse or Berserk, or might not have used Elysium blockchain or didn't know about it, but because of Tyche, they're coming. The wallets are increasing. We're helping Tyche, the goddess of good fortune, is spreading the good fortune to the other facets of Vulcan Forged. Again, it's a goal. There's no guarantee it can succeed. It's going to succeed, but I'm hoping that you guys are starting to see my vision, and I'm glad that I was able to deliver on something that I've long promised. I'm very excited about this, and again, like, show me a staking protocol or portal that does this. And again, I could be wrong, but this is going to be awesome. And I'm going to fund it, and then please, I guess we'll use the Tyche Discord. You can comment here. I don't care. If anybody is staking, I can't connect to MetaMask. My UI, let's collaborate. Maybe I'll even set up a separate staking Discord. But again, throw ideas at me about that. Anybody, so let's, I'm releasing it. It's going to be funded, but I'm already saying that, let's let this first couple months be, the beta, but with actual rewards coming in. It's tested, but things happen, as we know, in crypto projects. And that's it. We're going to be doing this often. I felt like I needed to get this out of the way so that then we can jump in and do more things. But I will be a hype man. I'm going to promote this when I can, get out of my life and jump down here and be crypto guy, crypto founder guy. But, bring your ideas, bring your suggestions, break this apart. Tell me where I'm wrong. Give me some possible speed bumps to look for. Give me some. Many of you watching this are smarter than me. Help me, help us be the success I truly believe we will be. And that is it. Everybody have a great rest of the week. Got 4th of July coming up here in the U.S. I'm literally going to be leaving here to go to a party in a minute. I actually told my wife I'd meet her there, and she was like, why? I was like, I'm going to go make a Tyche video, and she just kind of laughed and okay. But anyways, have a good one. I will be getting this portal, the link to it, and funded here very, very soon. But I wanted to get this to you guys so you can just see it all. But anyways, I will shut up and stop talking now. Have a good one.